What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, of course, everybody knows the news and knows where Kevin Durant stands on his stance with the Brooklyn Nets and not wanting to return to them next season. So, this video pretty much is about a possibility of one of the destinations that Kevin Durant sees himself or wanting to be traded to, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers, and a reunion with James Harden. So I'm going to just get straight to the point and say, if any trade that the Nets and Sixers would do, of course, it would be along the lines of Maxey, Harris, I'm thinking George Niang, and maybe some other players for Kevin Durant. But that would mean, right? That would mean that Daryl Morey would have to get back on the line with the Nets after shipping shipping James Harden, or getting James Harden from Brooklyn not even a year ago. So the Sixers have, I believe, no potential draft picks. I believe the picks that would be in line are wrapped up in swaps and things of that nature. But honestly, I want to get to the main reason I wanted to make this video. And that's being Kevin Durant and James Harden making it work, not for the first time, not for the second time, but can they make it work for a third? Because prior to James being traded to Philly, and when the Nets had Harden and Durant, they did have arguably the best record in the East, I believe, at that time. So could it be a possibility to see them team up alongside of Joel Embiid and be basically a force to be reckoned with, not only in the East but also in the NBA? But if you were to do that trade, if you were Philly, you would absolutely gut your team. There wouldn't be no upside other than getting Durant, to the rest of the roster. You would still have PJ. You would still have other bits and pieces. Your team wouldn't be completely decimated, but we're talking about taking a lot of the young core, so to speak, especially with Maxey. You know how high a lot of teams and a lot of players and execs and coaches around the league are high on Tyrese Maxey. The Sixers have been wanting for some time to get away from that Tobias Harris deal. And honestly, that's going to come at some cost, right? It's going to come at some cost. Now, getting Durant, would that be that cost? I don't know. So I'm just going to get right into another reason of this video. Like I said, Durant and Harden together. Could I see them making it work? I don't know. I don't know, honestly. Could I see them work? I don't know if, a possibility or a probability of them two actually making it work again. Well, and what, in what form would KD and James, work? We seen it last year. Even though Kyrie didn't play, they were the favorites to win the title. So if you add KD, you add James, and you add Joel to the mix, they're 9 times out of 10 going to be the favorite to come out of the East to potentially win a championship. But again, like I said, I don't see a scenario where, the Sixers are begging and calling the Nets for for Kevin Durant. I just don't see that scenario. I don't see a scenario where that is the that is the thing that they do. Maybe what Philly does is put together, see how things go, and then potentially, if a move needs to be made as the season goes on, then we'll see something of that nature. But presently put together, I don't see it happening. I said it, Tom, and I said it before, and I say it right now. I don't think Kevin Durant is on another team prior to training camp. I just don't see it because, this thing is lingering on a lot longer than a lot of people thought. This thing is going from bad to worse as the reports keep coming out of what KD is demanding. The Nets have honestly, the cards are definitely in the Nets' favor. They don't really need to make a power move just yet. And honestly, who wouldn't say that? If you look at the Nets roster and you look at the scenario, you like, dang, if Kevin was to come back and give it another go with Kyrie, they have Ben Simmons, Joe Harris is coming back, they have Cam Thomas, they have Claxton, they I believe they got Royce O'Neal, and you add around that, I mean, you have a good nucleus. Now, I'm not saying you are in line to beat the Celtics, because they were they ended up in the Eastern Conference Championship and NBA Finals last year. So, and they are the betting favorite. So, what is the best form of action if you are the Brooklyn Nets to resolve this? Do you have to sit down with Kyrie and KD and say, listen, I know things were a little bumpy in the beginning of the summer. Kyrie, you still don't have a long-term deal. Let's get that worked out. KD, I know you asked us to choose between Sean Marks, Steve Nash, and yourself, but we're not moving no pieces. And I think the best, form of action for all of us to just figure it out and do what we all want to do, and that's win an NBA championship. Honestly, I could say all of those things could happen, but that's me living in a fantasy world. I really don't know what's the possibility or probability of those things happening. I really see a scenario where it's funny. It's always like this. You never get what you deserve. You only get what you negotiate. And Kevin Durant lost that privilege when he signed that deal for 4 years, not even a year ago. So if he had a player option, then we'll move on from this. If it was other possibilities, but there isn't at this present moment. Teams are not budging with the asking price that I know the Nets are asking. The margin for error could be high depending on your team. If you trade for Durant, you're asking, you're basically asking to give up a lot of pieces. So that would mean in return, KD would have to be primed and ready to be in that title contention conversation. And yes, the Sixers are there. I don't want to lose my place in the reason of this conversation. But a reunion with James, a reunion with Harden and Durant in Philadelphia, could it happen? Is it possible? Yes. Do I see it happening? No. So Sixer fans, hold your horses just a moment. If it does happen, congratulations. That would definitely bolster them front and center in the East. So, and I said it before, if KD couldn't deal with, I'm not going to say he can't deal with, but Philadelphia media and fans are very different and very brutal. You see what they did to Ben Simmons. They are not easy to please. So if he was to come here and play that prima donna game, more power to him and good luck, But if a reunion is on the rise, I wish them nothing but the best. We'll see how things pan out in the future. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network. Of course, as always, I appreciate everyone liking, subscribing, and tuning in. Don't forget to hit that post notification bell. Of course, of course, of course. Thank you again. This is Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network. I'll catch you guys on the next video.